Hi, I'm Sarah Palmquist from Milford Great Oaks Teaching Professions, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today to talk to you guys. So when we think about the future of high school, we know that there has to be a change. Statistics show that whatever is happening right now in high school is not working out for us. On statisticsbrain.com, it says that over 3 million students drop out annually, meaning that over 8,000 students drop out daily. That's only in the U.S. On a digital article on Psychology Today, it says that students today have more anxiety than psychiatric members in psychiatric hospitals in the 1950s. That's a little scary to think about. That was in 2008. That was 7 years ago when the percent of students with anxiety was only at 17%. In 2013, that number rose to an astonishing 40% of high school students with anxiety. If you do the math, by 2015 it's only going to go up. It'll be at 46% by the end of this year. That's almost half of the students. Please realize that. That's almost half of the reason that we teach. It's half of the reason that we have jobs. That's half of the growing population. It's terrible. Those numbers are unacceptable. There has to be a paradigm shift in the education field. There has to be some sort of fundamental change. Now we're going to do a little activity. Take your hands, just relax a little bit. Take your hands, put them together with one thumb on top, whatever's comfortable for you. Like I have my left thumb on top. Pay attention to which thumb is on top. Now take them apart. Put them back together, but when you put them back together, make sure that your opposite thumb is on top. Now my right thumb is on top. It's not very comfortable, is it? It's different. This is where our education is. It just isn't right. But we have to make it work. Even though it may not be comfortable, we have to make it work. Now, this is a daunting idea, considering that most people don't like change. A man said to me one time, his name's Doug Dunlap from City Gospel Mission. He said to me, "The pain of not changing is greater than the pain of changing." Now, there has to be a change, and I'm not saying that academics are not important, because they are. What needs to change in order to establish a genuine education reform? We need not to change our students, but to change our teachers to mold our students into productive scholars who want to learn. Not saying that academics aren't important, but we're all aware that technology is getting more complicated. We're all aware that expectations are getting higher and that school is getting harder for our students. But numbers don't reflect who a student is. If you give a student a test, and they do poorly on a test, it may just be because they don't test well. Or it may be because their situation is not ideal at home. We don't know that. That's not what numbers reflect. Numbers reflect success, or they reflect failure. It's the difference between an A and an F. But those numbers don't show that that student was being bullied in the classroom, or that that student didn't have a place to go after school. Numbers are not a reflection of what students are. They're a reflection of how we test and how we balance school with our personal lives. Maybe I can give you a little story to put this into perspective for you. So there's this young man, and he's walking along, and he jumps down in a hole. Thought it would be okay, and it wasn't. The hole was too deep, and he couldn't get out. So he yells up for help, and the doctor comes by, and the doctor said, what are you doing down there?" He said, I can't get out. I'm sorry. I need you to help me. And the doctor says, "All right, I can help you. I got this." So he signs a little prescription, throws it down, and that didn't do any good. Just walked away. So the boy calls for help again, and he says, "Help, help." And a priest comes by. The priest said, "What are you doing down there, son?" And he says, "I need help. I'm stuck." So the priest says, "Okay, I got this. I can help you." Says a little prayer for him, walks away. Well, that didn't do him any good either. Calls for help one last time, and a teacher comes by. The teacher said, "What in the world are you doing down there?" He said, I can't get out. I'm stuck." She jumps down there, and he looks at him. He was so frustrated. He goes, What "What are you doing?" Now, awesome. Now we're both stuck. So she looks at him with a little smirk on her face, and she's all calm and everything, and she says, "I've been here before. I can help you through this. I got this." And so that teacher dug a trench, got out of that hole, and brought that little boy back to the surface. And that's what I want to see for the future of high schools. I want to not just advocate for, but I want to implement a plan to put my vision into reality. What I'd like to do, I'd like to see colleges have classes, have mandatory classes for future educators so that they're focused on rapport with students, that they're focused on the relationship with students. And I think that we need a class in college to make us realize that the students are why we're teaching. I want to see this being put into effect in classrooms. Every year, teachers have curriculums that they must follow. Every unit, teachers have guidelines to follow. Every day, teachers have learning targets to reach. So why not involve student satisfaction in this? As a student, I cannot learn if I'm not comfortable in a classroom. 2 years ago in my math class, I was a sophomore, and at the beginning of the year, I would not raise my hand. I would not participate because I was uncomfortable. I didn't know the teacher, I didn't know my peers, and then I began to talk to my teacher. My teacher reached out to me. As I got more comfortable, I started to raise my hand. I started to ask questions, and asking questions induces learning. You as a teacher have to build a relationship with your student because it's intuitive for them to learn and to learn once they want to be in the classroom. This will open up many more learning opportunities for your students and many more opportunities in the future of high schools. Forget the scores, forget the performance indicators, forget about all of that. This is about the student. Remember that each student is an individual and learning will come naturally. In recognizing that, you'll not only see a rise in those student scores, but more importantly, you'll see a happy future for high schools. I hope you've enjoyed listening to how I feel the future of high schools should be. Thank you for your time and for your attention.